I recently saw this video presentation by Jiren at Skepticam LA 2025. What a complete joke this is. Speaking in front of about 12 people in this ridiculous so-called skeptical camp. What an absolute joke. One thing I want to make perfectly clear, Jiren was never a flat earther. When people say Jiren flipped the script, he switched over from flat earth to globe. No, he was always a glober. He was just playing the role. When he first showed up on the scene, he was pushing many fake events on the world stage as real. Of course, Parkland, January 6th. We had, of course, Gabby Giffords in Arizona. He called these all real. So he was only speaking half-truths when it came down to it. And obviously just playing the role, like I said, of a flat earther. And this is going to be a very, very simple debunk video on Jiren and his nonsense, trying to debunk God's created flat earth. Let's get right to it. And first off, anybody that knows anything about the flat earth, they'll know that water is the ultimate proof of flat earth. Water seeks its level and it needs to be contained to seek its level. And of course, being level at rest. So what does this fake flat earther do? He tries to look up at the sky to prove the ground. I call these sky earthers. These fakes, these phonies, looking up at the sky to try to prove that we live on a globe and earth is not flat. Now let's take a listen here to what Jiren has to say during this presentation regarding his evidence that we live on a globe.
The sun setting right to left, this is one that makes me feel so stupid. On the earth, if you're in the north, like most of us I'm sure, we see the sun set every day left to right? It goes from the left to the right. In the south, the sun goes right to left. Now, that right there destroys the flat earth. The flat earth has a sun that goes clockwise around an earth. So it makes sense why flat earth took off, because in the north, people might look at that map and go, oh, that matches what the sun does. Okay, well, I think the earth could be flat. If you're in the south, I don't know how you could ever believe in a flat earth. The sun goes the other way.
And that is the most ridiculous statement that you could make as a globe proponent, as Jiren is, of course, fake flat earther the whole entire time, like I stated. Let's take a look here at the flat earth map, and this is going to be very easy to dissect and prove Jiren's lies. First off, here is the flat earth model, the flat earth map, as you can see here. And let's take a closer look, and we can see the equator itself, the Tropic of Capricorn. The furthest point, of course, it's south going around the flat earth. And of course, the Tropic of Cancer, the furthest the sun goes. So the sun circles. Make no mistake about this is biblical, where the Bible states the sun goes around as a circuit. And here's the model itself, the working model with the sun circling around the flat earth, around the so-called equator, and it works perfectly. God's created flat earth, right in plain sight. Now, it's going to be very easy to understand the lies of Jiren and the flat earth truth in plain sight. So, Jiren claims that, let me move this up here just a tad, that being up in the so-called northern hemisphere, how we see the sun, like you said, moving left to right. So it's going towards the right here, of course. So, understand, obviously, when you're down in Australia, say Sydney, right here. Now take a look here. And this is the sun setting in Sydney, going from right to left. Very clear. So this is Jiren's evidence, supposedly, that we live on a globe. Here's another example, and clearly the sun is moving towards the left in this video footage. And for some reason, Jiren claims that this proves the globe. Absolutely not. Let's continue on here and take a look here once again at the flat earth model as I shown earlier. So it's so easy to understand Australia. So at this aspect, this point, of course, if you're looking from the so-called northern hemisphere, you're going to be looking at the sun, obviously going from left to right, as stated. But when you're south, say for example in Melbourne, Australia, you're looking north and you're seeing the sun go from right to left. And that's due to perspective, obviously. Now let's take a look here, and clearly you're going to see exactly, it's all going to add up, it's all going to make sense, where the sun's moving from right to left. Let's take a look here. Now, important aspect, as you see, as the sun's moving from right to left, you're going to see the apex right here. Now, what should happen if we lived on a globe? I'm going to stop right here. If we lived on a globe, the sun should be setting southwest, coming around, as you see here, coming around and circling around to get to the other side of the so-called globe. You can't see Australia here, but basically, this is what should be happening. It should be circling underneath the globe, coming back around to South America. And this does not happen. Let's get back to the footage. Around towards the apex center. And now take a look at what the sun does. It's doing exactly as the biblical flat earth model shows. It's circling around. It's coming back around. Obviously, it's clear as day. It's not setting southwest. Like I said, like I stated here, it should be coming around in this direction and looping back around, coming through South America. And obviously, like I stated, that's not happening clearly. Now let's take a look here at the bogus footage from the final experiment, which I call the final embarrassment. Take a look at the sun, and it looks like a frisbee. This does not happen because this is fake footage. This is not a real sun. The shadows don't make sense either. None of this adds up. None of this makes sense. This is not reality based. This is fakery. Clearly. Show me footage, once again as I've shown, of the sun ever looking like a frisbee or a football. This is ridiculous. Take a look at the sun. The real actual sun, once again. Do you see it turning into a frisbee? Or a football? No. We never see it happen. Because it doesn't happen unless they're faking the footage like they did with the final embarrassment experiment. Give me a break. Now, take a look here at Junkyard Jiren's feeble attempt to debunk God's created flat earth. Let's take a listen.
So we saw the sun rise here south of, right? This is south of west, south of east. It rises, it goes very high in the sky, in your north, and then sets very south of west. That right there debunks in every way the flat earth map.
So, how are you going to explain this? If this is supposedly happening, how do you get a sunset in California, specifically San Francisco, every day if the sun is looping around, like you stated, underneath the ball? How do you explain this? Model this, Jiren. Let me see you do it. With the sun setting in front of the Golden Gate Bridge, going from left to right, how are you going to explain how that's happening with your so-called demonstration in Antarctica? This can't happen. This cannot happen at all. And of course, he's not going to have a response. There's no way he can, because this is not happening with the so-called circling sun underneath the ridiculous ball Earth. So that's checkmate on the garbage globe. And Jiren, you're done. You're more than done. You're well done. Actually, it's a good thing. Weeding out all the fakes and phonies, and only the real ones will remain. Mark Sargent currently playing the role as a flat earther, but make no mistake about it, that's by design. They want to fragment the truth community, and they're doing a very poor job of it. And obviously, this deceiver weasel, Will Duffy, he's the one that has instigated all this. But make no mistake about it, these are not real flat earthers, like I said. They're plants, and Will Duffy, in his arrival to the scene, was made to happen exactly when it happened. The bottom line is all these fake flat earthers are done. And no matter how hard they try, there's no debunking God's created flat earth.
John chapter 9, verse 25. Whereas once I was blind, now I can see. Now I can see.